Welcome to Trading Lounge and the US tech stocks. We'll look at the S&P and the NASDAQ as usual, and we're on the weekly chart here for the S&P, and in a nutshell we're looking for wave 1 and 2 here, going up to wave 3, 4 and 5 up here, and between wave 2 and 3 here we're also looking for 5 waves of 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and going up for wave 5 up here for this as well. So opening this up here from wave 4 here to wave 5 here, we're looking for 5 waves, so we're looking at 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to finish this off. We'll take a closer look at that. As mentioned last week, there is a alternative count where we can have wave 3 sitting here and wave 4 sitting here. Now it makes sense in having the length of wave 3 longer, but the correction for wave 4 here is rather sharp, so it's better suited as a 1 and 2 here. So this would be the primary count, but we want to kind of keep this in here as well. And our main objective at the moment, or was last week and will be this week, is counting these 3 weeks here. We'll be into the 4th week now. We want to be counting 5 waves in those within that structure there. So just going into the daily chart here, this is the alternative count where we have wave 4 here with 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 here, and counting 5 waves in here for that. And the other count for this is on this chart here, I think, yeah, where we have wave 4 here with 1, 2, 3, 4 and then 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 to finish off this here. So in this case we're looking for 5 waves within this particular structure here for this. So now when we count, because we're coming into Christmas, and we could probably see lower volume as we get sort of closer to that. Either way, whatever happens, this little move in here, once we count 5 waves in this move here, then we'll just sort of chill a little bit, and we'll just see if we get a corrective pattern here to get one more top in here. And the other thing with tops, they never really finish the way that you would like them to finish. They can be pulled around by other markets, or a news event normally sort of tops them out, and they can be a bit short, or they can they can spike and do all sorts of things. So we'll just be mindful of that. But yeah, we're tracking 5 waves from wave 2 here to wave 3 here. So let's go to the intraday on that. So from wave 2 here, going up to wave 3 here, and then 4 and 5. So this is where we were last week on the Friday, and we have made a new high here. So considering all aspects of this, we could put wave 5 here, but it is a little bit short for that, so it's probably not the case, and that means that we could look for this as wave 1 here and wave 2 here for this as well. And as I would have also mentioned, that we're at 6,100. The 6,000 doesn't really mean that much in terms for short-term traders, but the 100 would certainly be important for traders, and that's sort of what we're looking for here, I guess, something like this here. And as I would have mentioned as well, if I could just open this up a little bit further, when we've got 6-1 here, we've got group 1 above, which is 1, 2 and 3, 10, 20 and 30 in this case, and group 2 below. That's the swing range for any price activity at this particular number in normal circumstances. So that's what we can expect. This is an area where you can lose money because I consider 1 the strongest number, and it's got a few zeros there, so we'll call it the closest largest number. And what will happen is that larger orders will continue to pull it back to that particular number. If it pulls up, if it moves up, it will be wanting to pull back to it. If it pulls down, it will be wanting to pull back to it. So just be a little bit mindful of the psychology of that particular number there. Yeah, so this wave 4 here, and then this wave 5. So really we're in a bit of a topping situation. Now, as I mentioned, it is possible to have this as a top here, but I don't think that's the case. I can see that stock needs to move up further as well. So and it's kind of important to stay with the trend. So we'll see, but we should expect at this level here a classic trading levels pattern. So we're seeing that it's reacted from here and it's reacting from here. So that tells me, no matter the wave count, we should be seeing something like this. We're reacting a little bit here, so we'll see a push up above the level, and then we'll see a push down and this and that. So as I always say, we just need to be a little bit patient in this sort of area here and wait for this setup over here for this. So this is normally 3, 4, 5 of a larger wave 3, and then a 4 here, and then we'll go up for 5. So we'll see how close to Christmas we are when we sort of in that space there. Rightio, so that's the S&P, no real change there, and this is the NASDAQ. Also, we could view this the same as well. We could put wave 1 over here for this and wave 2 below here for this. The important point here though is that you can kind of clearly see that we've got 1 and 2 in here. We're going up for 3 and 4 here and going up for 5 here. So last week we were looking for those 5 waves there, and yeah, so they're sort of still on the cards. So yeah, we can see that we're also, as a third wave here, we're quite sort of close to, we've got a beginning in here and a middle and an end here. So we're probably pretty close to this situation, the top of wave 3 sort of thing here in this. And if we just go straight to the intraday and check that out here, let me just get a bit more data in here. This is a slightly different count. Well, we've got wave 2 here, but it's much the same thing. So we'll end up with 1 and 2 here, and last week we were in here, so we can look at this as wave 4, 1 and 2, 1 and 2 and 3. I'm putting wave 4 over here in a triangle. I haven't had time to study it though, but an A, B, C, D, E here for 4 and 5. And I could put wave 4 here. This is a little bit impulsive up here, but the opening of the session and all those sort of things, we may get some sort of ABC here. We'll see if that low gets in play there, but we can see from the stochastics here that are running on normal speed, they want to sort of pop back up at this point. So in line with the trend, I'm not really sure, so I'll just put it in the middle there, because that will tell me I'm not sure. So we're looking for some sort of move up here, and then some sort of corrective move, which will come down to the support areas here roughly, and then we'll see a move up here. Now here we're at the 500. The next level up is the group 2 here, so 650, 72 and 80. So if it's going to react, it's going to fail to find support on that 650 there. So that's the NASDAQ, which is being dictated by stock. So with stock, we can start looking at this. So we've got Apple, and yeah, look, this is a bit of a mess in here. All of this here, this is impulsive here. We could have always looked at it as an A and a B or WXY up here or something. But the rest of the market was bullish, so I'm always looking for it to sort of move up. What I don't understand is, looking at this as 5 waves here and putting 1 here and 2 here. I think that's okay. But should we look at this as an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave over here as a running flat for wave 2? A little bit unusual. Could we put it up here as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up here and put wave 1 over here and wave 2 over here? Do we look at this here and put wave 1 here and 2 here for this? So I'm not really sure the best way to do this, but in a way it doesn't really bother me, because I understand that we're looking, we've been building through here, and we we're looking for 5 waves, and the next level is the 250 here, and at the 250 we'll get this particular pattern here at the 250, so that would be the target area. At the same time, we are looking, you know, for that 5 waves up here in line with the S&P and the NASDAQ and so on. I'm not sure what I've updated this on, so I'll just go to 1,000 ticks here. That's okay, that will do the trick. So yeah, I don't know, this low here should be this wave 2 or this wave 2. It normally sorts itself out up here further, you know. We'll look back at it and go, well, that's really the best fit at that point, you know. I mean, the best fit now. Don't know, probably this one, but doesn't really matter at this point. So we're looking for 5 waves up here. So wave 1 and 2 is pretty clear. I've got wave 1 here and 2 here. I also understand wave 1 you could put in here as well as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in here, so I get it. It's just that I've got this extra little wave here to have this as 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 5 sort of going into a bit of a triangle pattern for this is sort of suitable at that point. This 1 and 2 here is fine. This little next move here is got slightly overlapping wave structures, but that's what sort of large numbers do. And the number 3 here, the top of minor group 1, is important. 3 is the 4th strongest number according to me. It just pulls it, is what they do. They just pull it back to themselves and skew the wave count, but I'm aware of that, so I get a little bit philosophical about that. So but it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 here, and then all the way up to 5 here with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 the 3rd, the 4th. Now this is where we were sort of on the Friday, and you know, it's not very impulsive at this. You know, if we block this in here, you know, I don't want to put wave 5 on here. That doesn't make any sort of sense. It looks like it's kind of got 3 waves here. It sort of looks like we need to bring wave B over here. It's either that or we need to look at this as 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and pushing up here. So once again, it's a bit of an eeny, meeny, miny, mo at this point. So I'll just put it over here. And most other stocks we're looking at are going into, well, the NASDAQ and all of that going into this wave 3, 4 and 5 is kind of the, you know, the what we're looking at, generally speaking. So the other point here to make too is because we're going into wave 4s and 5s here, 4s and 5s, 4s and 5s, these dudes can get, they can get a bit messy. So just be a bit mindful of that. But if you want to get to the top there, we certainly haven't. You know, we've got these 1s and 2s. We've got this building process here. We've got the beginning of the trend here. This is all the beginning of the trend, and this is the middle of the trend, and now we're getting to the end of this trend. So the beginning, the middle, and the end. So it will go higher, but if you put your stop too close, then you're going to be punished for that. So you're better off just taking money off the table at at a higher price. You know, not all of it, but so you know you can allocate money somewhere else. Just keep rotating stuff. That's Apple, and then we come over to Amazon. So yeah, this 200 here has pulled this down here as one would expect it to as well. So I'm not, and this is a little bit messy in here as well. So you know, that's not really wave 1 at that point. That's not going to solve anything here, I don't think. I think this is probably the best fit. This is the same, one of the counts that we've got with the S&P, you know, the alternative count with the S&P. It's probably, you know, partly coming from this type of market here as well. I could extend it out further, but you know what I wanted to do was just really count 5 waves in this move here, but we may get an extra one because of this. You know, we may need to put this over here, and this becomes 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 up here for the 3rd up here, and then a 4th and a 5th. So we could get an extra wave up here, but I'll just continue to count this up here. We'll just put this up here. It'll just make me think a little bit more about this. But let's just go into the intraday and pick it up at this trend. So, oh yeah, I've got it there already. So anyway, okay, so okay, I've got it here too. So yeah, so let me just get my head around this. Very early Monday morning, got to get those grey cells working a bit. So we had this as 1 and 2, that's cool. And then 1 and 2 and 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't want to put that into there because that's all part of, that's a fourth of that third, so that's got to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think we're okay here. This is a wave 3, we'll see a wave 4, we'll see a wave 4 here, and 5 and 5. So yeah, I think we probably get this. It's kind of halfway between the other counts. Okay, but what we can do here is not use that, but use this here. This is the type of pattern that we're going to get at the 230 because it's the top of minor group 1 here. So we're going to get that, and then we'll move up from that point. So just a basic classic trading levels pattern that will be here for this. This will be it here, and then we'll go up here for this one. We can look at this wave 5 here, much the same length as wave 1 here because the extension's in wave 3. So we'll get this pattern here. So if you're long in this market, just stay long, you know. This is the target area up here, but we will be spending time here for this. There will be profit taking coming in at that 230, above and below. Now, this is Nvidia. I wasn't expecting it to pull back this far. I could view this in terms of 1, 2, 3, 4 here, just at this point, and then move up from that there. But I don't think that's the case because I don't really have a nice little impulse wave off the low here. Off this low here, that does not really giving me the impulse wave there. So it looks like we're going to be going into something a little bit more complicated. So I think that I mean, certainly we could look at this as an A and a B and a C up here. It just depends how you want to count that spiky thing here and the rest of this as well. So I don't think it's the ABC pattern here because it wouldn't be in line with the general market. So that's kind of an alternative count. But at the same time, this particular little move up here doesn't count very nicely as an impulse wave. So it's more, and this is also looks a bit corrective as well. So it's more like something like this, and a B wave and a C wave here onto this this support here, and then moving up again. So yeah, so let's just see how that sort of unfolds. I mean, this didn't make it any easier over here, you know, just so its earnings over here gave a bit of a spike here. Which really you could put, you could put this top in here for this and look at this as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up here and have it there. But because it wasn't a lot of main traffic, but even so, if this was up here, we still got this as an A and a B and a C down here. So we could have a larger wave 4, but it just wouldn't be in line with the market, with the rest of the market. So we'll just watch it for a little bit for this. And but if you're long, you can stay long. You just need to keep the stop well out of the way. But if you're a swing trader, you'll need to be out. Then we come over to meta platforms. So we're looking, in this case, going from wave 4 going to wave 5 up here. This is one of the alternative counts for the S&P and so on. So yeah, we're not quite there, and I just sort of built this, I mean, the beginning here, the beginning of the trend, the sharp moves here, the middle of the trend, and now we're coming into the end of the trend. I was just assuming that we could look at this as 1 and 2 here, and 3, 4, 5 for the third and fourth here, and that would also put us in line with the NASDAQ as well, coming up for this wave 3 here, and then wave 4 and 5. So that would also be sort of fitting here as well for this. So this is 1,000 ticks. We can take a closer look at this. I think I might even have an alternative count here. Yeah, this is a slightly alternative count here, because the one that I just showed you then had this wave 3 over to here, but this one is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up here. Not that it makes a lot of difference. I can still track it out for you. I would assume this wave 4 is pretty close to being finished, but there may be one more little move down here. But this one here and then this one here, because this market meta platforms can run in front of the other markets. So if you're long in this, definitely stay long until you get to the 650, the medium level here for this. But there's just two different ways it can play out through here. But yeah, anyway, it's all good. Just stay long in that market. And then we come over to Netflix, and I've got to kind of extend this up here. This is wave 1 here, so I definitely need wave 3 over here to be longer, which it is now. So I can put wave 3 up here somewhere, and then it's just a matter of counting this in whichever way. And having this wave 3 here would also be in line with, you know, getting into the US, you know, the indices and all the rest of it. So let's just go in from 100 ticks into 10 ticks for this one and pick it up. So last week we were looking from the low here of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up here. So we had 5 waves here. We had a little bit of a classic trading levels pattern, so we could go long here. You know, so we can lift this stop up into here. We're talking about trying to get up to the 1,000 area up here. That's when a market's above 9. That's really what it's looking at. You know, that number there. So we'll try to get up there. It's just a matter of trying to, you know, get a count. You know, it really wants to get there. It's running nicely. There's no doubt about that. So I've changed the count. We've had this as wave 2 here. Now I'm just putting this as wave 1 here, but it's probably not right. And this would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for 1 and 2. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the third, the fourth. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for this third here. And then going up here. Now this would make it pretty close to the other markets, wouldn't it? You know, the NASDAQ and that going into this wave 3 here, and 4 and 5 going up here. So that would be, oh no, it's not, sorry, I've got it the other way around. So we might need to just stretch this up here a little bit further and bring this one up, way up here. But how do we stretch that up? That means that I'll need to put this here. Sorry, I'm just talking to myself actually. So it's just a bit messy in here, that's all. I mean, I've either got to put wave 1 here or I've got to put wave 1 here. Well, leave it with me. But what I can say here is that this here is 1 and 2 here. I could go 1, 2, that's 1, 2, 3, 3, 3. It's still building here, so yeah. So this number here should pull it back as well. Let me just have another look at this. Yeah, we're getting into some little force. It's going to push up higher here. There's going to be some sort of little push up here. But just be careful, because it can come back to the 30 here for this before heading up higher, and that means the alternative count would be putting this wave 4 here, this one up here, and this one up here. For this wave 3 at 950, that would be about right. And then the 4 here, and then from the 50 to the 1000, that will take us up into wave 5 there. So let me just adjust this. Apologies for not being sort of on the case at the moment too much. It's just Monday morning. But yeah, I mean, the main thing is we're just going to stay long. I'm just going to drop that down here a little bit on that. We've taken part profit here anyway. We might look to add again, depending on what day it is and how close to Christmas we are, and how wave 4 looks in all of this as well. Wave 5 should be much the same length as wave 1 here, so we'll get quite close. Even at the 980 might do us as well. Alrighty, so we come over to Alphabet. So I wanted to talk about this a little bit. So I wanted to make, you know, I mean, to make this bullish, the same as Microsoft as well. I mean, Microsoft is even worse. So I should have gone to the daily chart on this Microsoft one here, 100 ticks, just onto the daily chart here. So, you know, I mean, all the markets around the place had been with wave 3 here and wave 4 here. So, you know, that's just the sort of standard thing. So I was really trying to figure out how to get wave 1 up here. You know, do we put it here for this, and, you know, or do we put it here, or do we put it over here? I mean, they're all sort of options. You can kind of squeeze it in. But my main thing was not so much the count, but the main thing was to remain bullish with all of this. But at the same time, we could see that, you know, this market wasn't really tracking the same as other tech stocks. And Google wasn't sort of far behind. It sort of made a bit of an effort. But I'm also not sure the best way to count this here as well. You know, I could count this. I can count. I mean, first of all, I could look at this. I mean, most Elliott people would look at this and go an A and a B and a C wave up here, and that makes sense, you know. But the problem with that is that we've got this here in 3 waves, and this is becoming impulsive. So as soon as this top here is taken out, it confirms that this will be a corrective pattern here, and then eventually that top comes out. So that ABC pattern here is just not going to wash, and I wouldn't think that, you know, I wouldn't think so either, because you know, the rest of the market is bullish. So, you know, it should, even though it might lag and get a bit weird, it will sort of continue to sort of push up in its own way. So I don't know the best way to count it. I mean, the other way to look at this is if I took this at face value of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, and put wave 3 here and wave 4 over here, and then look for wave 5 over here for this. But then, of course, we're overlapping over here as well. So whichever way we look at it, it is a little bit tricky to count. So I feel quite strongly that it's bullish. I just don't know the best count for it, because whichever way you go, you basically, you know, somebody's going to criticize you for it. Not that I bother about that these days. I'm too old and crusty. But I'm just saying that it's bullish. I just don't know the count that much. So all we're looking for here is we're looking for 5 waves up here in one way or another. And when we get those 5 waves, then what that will do, that will prove to us that it's bullish at that point. So then we can just wait for the ABC pattern at that point, and then we can start to build in long here, or we can start to build in long on the first impulse wave here for this. It's quite possible that we could also view this too in terms of an A wave here, a B wave here, and a C wave up here for this, and then come down here for C wave and then go up as well. I can see that, but like, it's not really in line with the other markets at this point. So I feel like I'm on the right track here. So we're just going to count 5 waves up there. When it pulls back for the ABC, then we're going to start looking for long trades in this market. So based on that, that's not very clear at this point. So let me just go in a little bit further where I've probably been counting. So from this low here, we've got 1 and 2 here. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and this is where we were last week. So in this case here, we've got wave 3 here and 4 here. So I might need to adjust that, but we'll see. In the meantime, though, we're looking for wave 4 last week. So we've got this push up here. So we'll look at this as 1 and 2 in here. I'm not really sure if this 2 is going to pull back a little bit more, but we'll be looking for 3, 4, and 5 up here for this. Now, none of this really bothers me at all. We could look at this as 1 or 5. We're going to kind of go with the wave 1 at this point. So I'm just going to adjust that, and then we're going to look for a wave 2 to come back, and let's just see how it plays out. And like I said, this move back here will be, you know, a simple zigzag ABC 5-3-5 structure, and then we'll pick it up at the low here, and we'll wait for the first impulse wave to come up, and then we'll move into it. So that's sort of where we are there. So that's kind of, you know, next year thing. Microsoft, much the same. You know, it's a bit of a mess. But it should just start edging higher now, you know. I mean, and was kind of thinking it should even pick up a little bit of speed, really, because of the accumulation process that it's been through here on this. Let's just go into the 1000 tick area here and pick it up. So from this wave 2, 1 and 2, 1 and 2, 1 and 2, going up for 3, 4, 5 and 5 up here. So it is a little bit different from other markets. I suppose based on this count here, if I had to stay in any stock, this would be on the list for sure. I'll just go into 100 ticks just to work that count a little bit more. So we've got 1 and 2 over to here, and then we've got 1 and 2 here. And so from wave 2 here, we're going up to wave 3 up here. And in that case, we've got 1 and 2, and then 3, 4, 5 up here. And between 2 and 3, we're looking for 5 waves. So we've got 1 and 2, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the third wave. The fourth wave can pull back, the fourth wave here. 5 is the second strongest number, so definitely look for some sort of pattern like this here. And if you're aware of that, then you're not going to make any rash decisions in all of that, and you can hold long for longer. Okay, Tesla. So with Tesla here, we've been working through this as wave 3 and 4, and then 3 and 4 here to go up to wave 5. So from 4 here, looking to go up to wave 5. It's pretty clear this trend as 1 and 2. We're working through all of that. And then we've got 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and then we'll go up for wave 5 of 3 here, and then wave 4 react here a bit, and then wave 5, I don't know how high wave 5 is going to go, but it'll be up there somewhere for 10, so something like that in here. So basically we're looking to take profit on this little trade here at the 400 or just before it. As mentioned, it will go higher, but if you're trading just normal stock, then and there's no overnight financing costs, well then you can stay in there a little bit higher and probably get to 410 or something, or maybe even a little bit higher, but you'll have to suffer this correction here, and this wave 4 can pull back 38.2%, so 40% off your profit at that particular point. So just be mindful of that. If you're a long-term holder of this, medium-term holder, well then you want to hold through this particular wave 4 here as well. They could come back a bit lower from here. But the first thing that we look here is the swing range, so from the 430 back down into this space here. So you need to make decisions as you're before you get to this number and decide what you're going to do. You do not want to be making decisions inside of this swing range here. You can do that when something is matured, but most people will start losing money around large numbers, so you need to make decisions early in the piece on that. And then we come over to Bitcoin, and 1 is the strongest number, as I always say. It doesn't matter if it's 1 cent or 10 cents or $1 or whatever. So we knew that when you get large numbers, and especially this number 1 here, then you're going to see a lot of buying and selling going on here. And as you know, there was nearly $500 million in profit taking at this particular point, and we got that spike down, and it is a spike. And so if you wanted to count it, there's different ways to count it. We've always had wave 4 here, so you could put wave 4 over here and have some sort of WXY here, and have wave 4 here and wave 5 over here for that. You could probably also look to this as some sort of A wave coming down here, some sort of B wave up here, and then a C wave coming down here. Now, because it took the top out here, one would think it'd be an expanded flat and then take the bottom out here, but it didn't really take the bottom out here. So it's almost like a running flat as a wave 4, which is quite rare, but that would probably be the best fit for it at that point. So you could look at that. You could put wave 4 here, you could put wave 4 here, and you could put wave 4 over here. If you put wave 4 over here, then you would need to put in some sort of other larger wave 3 top in that place, and then you would end up with some sort of, well, you could put wave 4 in here as well and leave it there and push up at that point. So we need to get more information in here first, or we could put wave 4 over here and put an A wave and a B wave and a C wave here. What I wanted to talk about, I told you that when we get here it's going to get messy, and the swings are going to be, if you're going to take profit, it was here, because it's just going to get messy. But if you're a hodler, you're just going to hold through all of this, and that's that, But I just wanted to go to, because there'll be so many different wave counts for all of this here, So I just want to point something out. There's a couple of things that I wanted to point out, but I wanted to point out the bigger picture, but I'm not going to do that. I just want to point out the bigger picture in this trend here. So, this, whichever way you look at it, really, this price action here, this particular pattern, is more akin to a wave 4 rather than a wave 2. Okay, so if this is a wave 4 here, then this move up here is going to be a wave 5 up here. And if this is going to be a wave 5 up here, then the top here is either going to be a wave 3 or a wave 1 up here for this. So this is going to be a wave 5. Top's going to be a bigger wave 3 up here, or wave 1 up here. They're the two options, okay? So I'm just saying. And that said, this move going up through here, what you can see here, if we take this as the low here, you can put wave 1 here, you can put wave 1 up here. In whichever way you want to look at it, you still end up with wave 2 down here. Now, this wave 2 here, that's important. Now this move up here, you can count 5 waves up there. You could put wave 1 here, and you could put wave 2 here. You could also look at this as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up here for 1 and 2. So you could have 1 and 2 here, and 1 and 2 here, and this is definitely a third wave here, right? So there's different ways to count this. You could have 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2, and then a powerful third wave. So that works. What I wanted to point out though is that whichever way you want to sort of dress this up here, this is the beginning of the trend here. This is the middle of the trend here. And now we're in the later stages of the trend here. So in here is just going to get messy in here. So it doesn't really matter. So what you just need to understand is that there's going to be a whole lot. There's not a top in here yet. This whole wave 5 here is not completed, because you can see that this is 1 and 2 or 1 and 2 or 1 and 2 here. We don't have the 4s and 5s up here. We have the beginning, the middle. We don't fully have the end yet. So what I normally do in these circumstances is actually just don't worry about it, because we're coming into Christmas, and so big money will be on holidays. Retail money will be in there, and they can push the market as well, if depending on the balance of what's what in there. But I just think, as I mentioned here, when we get here before, we would come up to here, we would react here, and then we would get swings here. So you get this one, you get a bigger swing here and a bigger swing here. I'm exaggerating here, but bigger swing and bigger swing, all these and these all become 4s and 5 tops here. But at some point when this finishes off here, when it finishes off here, there'll be some correction here. Now it's either going to be, like I said, it's either up here, it's either going to be, I'll just use these here, it's either going to be a larger wave 1 for all of this to be wave 1 here, or actually further back than that, or this is going to be a wave 3 here. So this move that comes back here is either going to be a wave 4 or a wave 2 at this point. So that's something that we need to see. But this is the sort of thing we'll get at this level here. And, because this is basically the 100,000. So in a bit of a nutshell, this is really what we're looking at. But I'm not really going to be, concerned in this market until we get over to this point here. This is where it becomes sort of interesting. And, once we get this high here, obviously your balances are going to be looking really good, but there's a really high probability that we're going to be back down here as well. So I will be doing my buying down here. I'll be waiting for any sort of move back into this space over here for this. But I'm a hodler on this, and what I'm waiting for, what I will be really happy with, is when this market has done its pattern at this level here and then moved up from that point. We also have a really good accumulation process through here as well. So we could go quite high here. When we're talking about how high can we go over here, the first thing that I always do is just look at group 1 and group 2. So that's always 1, 2 and 3 here. So that's group 1 here, and group 2 is really the 80, the 72 in here, and the 65 in here. So that's group 2 here. So it's quite possible, I know that you won't like this, but it's quite possible for it to come down to, 65 area through here. That's quite possible as well at this point. So we'll just see how it sort of plays out. But yeah, this can go above, even above this here. If ever this 130 here becomes a tested support, so if we get a classic trading levels pattern on top of the 130, we get this move over here, that means that we're not coming back down to that 100 at that point. That's just, because I've been through this number before. To me, it doesn't matter if it's 100,000 or 1,000 or 100. You go and have a look at stocks that are, at $10 or $100, and you'll see, very few of them will just move past, but most of them will have some type of correction here, and we'll have some type of correction here, I reckon, based on what I can see here. I can see whichever way you want to count this. You've got the beginning here, you've got the middle here. We haven't seen an end of this yet. We haven't seen the end of it, and we haven't seen this trend here correct, let alone the rest of this down here correct as well. So there's still more to be had here. So I wouldn't get too emotional about or opinionated about what happens at this particular number. You're better off saying nothing, really, and that's what I'm trying to say in a nutshell. Alrighty, I'll leave it at that. Thanks. Cheers.